The diagram represents an open box with length x centimeters, width 6 centimeters, and height x minus 5 centimeters. Write an expression in terms of x for the area of the base. And so what is the base? Well, let's highlight the base. So here's the base highlighted in red, and it is rectangular in nature. And so as we have a rectangular base, and so what is the area of a rectangle? Well, the area of a rectangle is a length times width. And so we're going to take the length, which is x, right? Because they say that the length is x. And we're going to take, and we're going to say that the width is going to be what? The width is 6 centimeters. They say width is centimeters. So the length is x, the width is 6. So the area of the rectangular base is going to be length times width, which is x times 6. And x times 6 is 6x, and that's the answer for the first one. Next, we have to write an expression in terms of x for the area of the side with length x. Okay, so the side with length x. And so they're referring to this particular side. So we have to figure what is the area of this side. Now, this is a side that is rectangular. So we have to figure out the area of this rectangular side. We're gonna take and the area, what is the area of a rectangle? The area of a rectangle is length times width. And so we have to multiply the sides. So we multiply this side, x, with x minus 5. We multiply this x with x minus 5 because we have to multiply the sides. X times x minus 5. So the area of the side with length x is going to be equal to x times x minus 5. And what we can do is we can say that x times x minus 5, we just go, what we could do is we just write them close to each other. So we remove the multiplication sign and we just write x very close to this parenthesis, this bracket or this parentheses. And so we say x, and once you have it close like that, multiplication is implied. And so that means that we have x times x minus 5. We don't have to keep the multiplication sign. Okay, now we need to write an expression in terms of x for the area of the side with length x. And so that's going to be this side. And so the area of the side with length x is going to be what? Well, it's a rectangle. And in order for us to figure out the area of a rectangle, we're going to do length times width. So basically, we have to multiply the two sides. And so we take 6, right? And we multiply it by this, right? Now, this side is going to be equal to, right? This side, right, is equal to x, right? Minus x minus 5. And the reason why we know that this side is equal to x minus 5, we know that this side is equal to x minus 5. We know that because this is x minus 5. And so this must also be x minus 5. So we have 6 multiplied by x minus 5. And so that's the area of the side with length x. 6 multiplied by x minus 5. And so we just bring it together. So we have 6 multiplied by x minus 5. Okay, next, we need to show, it says show that the surface area of the box is given by 2x squared plus 8x minus 60. And so surface area. So in order for us to get the surface area, what we need to do? We need to use the area of the base, right? Take the area of the base, and we're going to take the area of this side, area of A, and we're going to add that with the area of B, this side. We're going to add it with the area of C, right? This side right now, the area of C. We're going to add it with the area of B. So basically, in order for us to find the surface area, we find the area of all the sides and then we add them up, right? Now, what's the area of the base? Well, the area of the base is 6x. What's the area of A? The area of A is 6 times x minus 5. The area of B is 6 times x minus 5. And we know that because this area, area A, is the same thing as area B, okay? And what's the area of C? Area of C is x times x minus 5. And the area of D is going to be x times x minus 5. And we know that because we figured that out in the previous question, the area of D. And the area of D and the area of C, right? They're the same, all right? And so that's why we have x times x minus 5, and then we have x times x minus 5 for the area of C and the area of D. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to distribute. So we distribute the 6 across this expression. So we say 6 times x, and we say 6 times 5. Similarly, we say 6 times x, Let me say 6 times negative 5. Let me say x times x. Let me say x times minus 5. Let me say x times x. Let me say x times minus 5. And so if we were to multiply these things out, we say 6 times x. 6 times x is 6x. Then we have 6 times negative 5. Well, 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. Then we have 6 times x. Well, 6 times x is 6x. We have 6 times negative 5, and 6 times negative 5. 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. Then we have x times x, and x times x is x squared. Then we have x times 5, or x times negative 5. And x times negative 5 is negative 5x. Then we have x times x, which is x squared. Then we have x times minus 5, and that gives us minus 5x. And so what we have to do now is we are going to group the like terms. And so all of the numbers, all of the terms with x squared, we put together. So x squared, because this is x squared. We have x squared, as again, because this is x squared. And so we bring them together. There are no other terms inside this expression, inside this, there are no other terms that have x squared inside this expression. Okay, now we're gonna deal with all of the x's. So all of these are terms which just have x in them. So 6x, 6x, right? And then 6x. So that's where these three 6x's come from. Then we have negative 5x, which we have negative 5x. And then we have a negative 5x, which is negative 5x as well. And so, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do negative 30. So this is negative 30, and then we have negative 30 as well. This is negative 30, okay? And so, yeah, and so what we have to do now is we just have to simplify. So we have x times x squared, and x times x squared is 2x squared. Then we have 6 plus 6 plus 6, and 6 plus 6 plus 6 is going to be 18x. We just bring down the negative 5x and the negative 5x right here. And the negative 30 and the negative 30, we bring them here. And then we have negative 5x and negative 5x, which gives us negative 10x. We just bring down the negative 30 and the negative 30. And then we have 18x minus 10x. And 18x minus 10x is going to be 8x. Again, 18x minus 10x is 8x. And we have a negative 30 and negative 30. And negative 30 and negative 30 is going to be negative 60. And so we have shown that the surface area of the box is given by the expression 2x squared plus 8x minus 60. That's exactly what we have above. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. It says that the surface area of the box is 174 centimeters squared. Write an equation for the surface area and find the length x of the box. And so what do we have? Well, we have that this right here, this right here is an expression for the total surface area. And this right here is the numerical answer for the total surface area. So the total surface area, the expression for it is 2x squared plus 8x minus 60, but the numerical value of the total surface area is 174. And so that means that both sides of this, that means that these two terms, or these two parts of the equation must be equal, right? This side must be equal to this side. Okay, so now we have to solve, they say what? Write an equation for the surface area and then find the length x. Okay, so we have to solve this quadratic equation. And so what we have to do is we're gonna take 174 and send it over the equal sign. When we do that, we have a 0 here, and this is positive 174, and it becomes a negative 174. Next, we have 2x squared plus 8x minus 60 minus 174. And so what do we do next? Well, we say negative 60 minus 174, and a negative 60 minus 174 is a negative 234. And so we have 2x squared plus 8x minus 234 is equal to 0. And so here we have a quadratic equation expressed in the way that whereby we can apply the quadratic equation formula. And so what is the quadratic equation? What is the general form of a quadratic equation formula? Well, the general form of a quadratic equation, I should say, the general form of a quadratic equation is given by the following. We have a multiplied by x squared, right, plus b x, right, minus, plus c is equal to 0. This is the general form of a quadratic equation. And using this, the quadratic equation formula is going to be equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So what's happening here? Well, the first thing is this right here is the general form of a quadratic equation, right? And so when we have this equation represented like this, right, we can easily tell what is a, what is b, and what is c. Now a, right, a is going to be the number that is in front of x squared. So the number that's in front of x squared is 2. So that's why we have right here that a is 2. Then b is going to be the number that's in front of x. And so the number that's in front of x is going to be 8. And so that means that b is what? B is equal to 8. And c, well, c is the number that is in front of, c is the number that is by itself. That's the constant, all right? And so that's why here the constant is negative 234. And so a is equal to 2, b is equal to 8, and c is equal to negative 234. And so using that, we're going to, using our understanding of what a, b, and c is, we're going to use this quadratic formula to answer our question. What's the quadratic formula? The quadratic formula says that x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Here we have that b is equal to positive 8, so let's substitute that in. So we have b is equal to 8, b is equal to 8. Here, then we have to substitute our a's. We have that a is equal to 2. We also have that a is equal to 2 right here. Then we substitute c, right? C is equal to negative 234, and so c is equal to negative 234. Next, what do? We say 8 squared minus 4 times 2 minus, we have 8 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 234. So we evaluate all of the numbers inside of the square root. So we have, so that gives us 1,936. So 8 squared minus 4 times 2 multiplied by negative 234. All of that gives us 1,936. And so we put that square root sign, and so we have that x is equal to negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 1,936, all divided by 2 times 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Now, what is the square root of 1,936? Well, the square root of 1,936 is 44. And so what does that mean? That means that x is equal to negative plus or minus 44 all over 4. And so that means that x positive, and x positive simply means that the sign that we choose to be between these terms is going to be a positive, all right? Because it could be positive or negative, right? If it's positive, this would be this is what we'll put. If we put the sign positive, we put the positive sign here, and the results that we do below will be the answer for x sub positive, which means that it will be for when the positive sign is in between now. But we can also do it for when it's negative as well, right? And so we have negative 8 plus 44, and negative 8 plus 44 is 36. And 36 divided by 4 is definitely 9. So x sub positive is equal to 9. How about x negative, right? X negative. So this is going to be equal to x negative just means that the negative sign is in between these two terms, or is in between these two numbers. And so we have a negative 8 minus 44, and negative 8 minus 44 is negative 52. Again, negative 8 minus 44 is equal to negative 52. So we have negative 52 divided by 4, and negative 52 divided by 4 is equal to, is supposed to be negative 13. Negative 13. So let me put the negative sign here. Negative 13. And so we have that x, right? We have that x is equal to 9, and x is equal to negative 13. And so they said, write an equation for the surface area and find the length x of the box. Now, the length x of the box cannot be a negative number because in real life, lengths and widths are not negative. So x has to be a positive number. And so what that means is the value of x, right, that we have to choose is going to be x is equal to 9. X is equal to 9 centimeters. All right, x is equal to 9 centimeters. And so that's the answer to this question. We cannot use negative 13 because it's a negative. We have to use the positive result because the length and the width of a box is not a negative number. It's a positive number. And so x, we have to use the positive result. And so x is equal to 9 centimeters is the answer to this question. And that's the answer. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.